everyone, Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret here. Hope you're enjoying your Easter or your Passover or just your Sunday, whatever you're celebrating today. I just got done watching the Iron Sheik's documentary on Netflix called simply The Sheik. It's about 90 minutes if you have time to see it. I think it's a really good documentary. It did a really good job outlining the Sheik's life and his upbringing and the way he came up in the wrestling world, starting out as an amateur and then being in the Iranian army and then making his way to America and eventually becoming a pro wrestler, and of course everything that's happened since then. The documentary really pulls no punches on his time as an addict. It pulls no punches on the death of his daughter and how the family was affected after that. And it really shows, the humanity behind, the Iron Sheik, who, if you follow on Twitter, you see him on Facebook, it's this kind of, like I said in the Grand Masters review, he's a crazy grandpa, but there's such a humanity to him. I think the movie really showcases that. Speaking of Grand Masters, that's one of the things I popped for when I was watching the documentary, was there's a lot of footage from the two Grand Masters events in the documentary where it shows like his downfall after he was fired from WWF, and he's jobbing the Mighty Maccabee. Oh, so embarrassing, which it was. And also, one other thing I popped for, there were a couple of Pacific Northwest throwbacks in there. There's some footage of him wrestling a very young Paul Pershman, aka Playboy Buddy Rose, who you may know is one of the people who trained me to wrestle. And also there's footage of him wrestling Dutch Savage in Portland in a coal miner's glove match. Very bloody, brutal affair. It's cool that there's the Portland representation in this documentary. I think, there was a time where people were asking, well, is the Iron Sheik really in control of all his, tweets and everything? And no, he's not. And the documentary does a good job of showing that and kind of lifting the veil, saying, basically it's these two brothers who run a production company who are kind of running the Iron Sheik's online presence and pretty much his presence in pop culture today. I do think it's kind of interesting, though, that these two guys just happen to stumble upon this walking meme and are kind of using him to promote their production and promotion company. That's a whole other story, though. At least it's helping the Iron Sheik. It's making them money, and they're trying to keep him off drugs, which is a very uplifting story. It's a very good documentary overall. I have to admit, I did skip through part of the end of it just to get to the conclusion, just because I think they kind of drug on a little too long about his time in pop culture and how relevant he's become now as the crazy old guy and his redemption. I kind of fast forward a little bit. I thought it was getting a little too long. Other than that, I think it's a fine documentary. If you've seen the documentary before, let me know what you think about it. Post in the comments section below. I look forward to hearing what your thoughts are on it. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to Wrestling with Regret, and don't forget to buy the t-shirt. Woo! Wrestling with Regret t-shirt. I'm Brian Zane, and I'll see you next time.